So is there any question from anybody particular to start the day?
May I ask, Baba?
Yeah.
My question is, in this world where the world itself is diseased and out of balance, and even if we come to balance within ourselves, the world keeps insisting its identity games and things that we have to play with. What is the way to find a way to live in this world and be in balance inside, sort of be the sage inwardly and be the successful person in this out of balance world? Very curious if you have any insights.
First of all, the world is not in disease. A part of the world, in the living world, human beings are diseased. So nothing to be afraid of, the whole world is diseased. Because we think we are everything, that is why we think we are the whole world. It's not so. The whole world is quite big.
I mean,
like
the human beings.
If you are given to count the eggs of ants from an anthill, you will take more than a whole lifetime to count all. That's quite a big number. That may be very small to you. Thus, the world is not diseased. Human beings are diseased. And another thing is, the sage's way and the common man's way is basically not different. Only different in the thought process. Both need to eat, both need to sleep, both need to work, both need to breathe. Everything is exactly the same, except the thoughts, and according to the thoughts, the choices. Human beings only come to think of a group when they're in a trouble. Otherwise, they always think they're independent and individuals. At least a pandemic is making people think that we are all together. The balance in a human being is standing on choice. The entire misbalance or disbalance, better to say, is choice. Because human beings always choose extremes. And any side of the natural balance you choose as an extreme, the other side is always against you. So there is always the balance. Only human beings think that they need to be balanced. It's all again because of the individuality. For the speciality human beings claim rather than the commonness. Balance is always there. We are breaking it. Just go to the Old Testament Bible. God created all lives. Finally, God created human beings. It's an emergency call from God. Somehow, human beings could not stay in the Garden of Eden. They were kicked out. We know all the story, or we don't know. But what happened to the animals, trees, birds, fishes, butterflies, who were there in the Garden of Eden? They didn't stand against God, so they are not kicked away. Where are they now? Have you ever thought about it? That where all the lives that God created are living when human beings have been kicked away from the Garden of Eden. So they are living in the Garden of Eden still now. We are not living. So is this world the world of punishment and suffering for human beings and not for any other sentient being or any other life, is decided by God or decided by human beings? Ramil, what do you think about it? This is the same story. We are all in the garden, we don't know.
I think it is both, Baba, because walking in nature with butterflies, with the trees, with the wind, and the wind flows perfectly with the shape of the mountains, and the leaves are perfect. They're in a state of perfection. And then the human beings are also creating great chaos and disorder. I'm sitting in peaceful meditation in front of a lake. Crazy people come running around with no sensitivity to anything. They make all the birds fly away. They have no awareness of it. And living in this world with people who are out of this balance, like there has
How
to...
people went out of the balance, if people find out, then they will know how to come out of this misbalance or disbalance or imbalance, whatever you say.
Well, even simply if we say the identity, maybe the identity is forgotten within yourself. As soon as you go into the world, people still call that name, people still call that role. It is still asserted from outside.
Identity gets fixed not by others to you. More you appreciate your specific role plays. Nobody gives you an identity. You seek an identity. We all do. One who doesn't seek an identity, doesn't think this tag will be best for me, doesn't care. Okay, we will now talk on the balance.
Thank you.
As my path of experiential wisdom is the path of yoga, not meant to be by exercises for physical exercises and acrobatics. Yoga means the great union, the great balance. The sages of yoga found that what a human body and mind holds is the map of the entire universe. Or logically trying to understand how the evolution of the cosmic reality has in its own part evolved as human being, that is cosmic evolution to earth evolution to life evolution to human evolution, and then evolution of human perception, which is carried on. This total track record is in human body and mind. First, it is in the body, and then it develops as the mind. To track this map is the path of yoga. Why? Because along this path, there is from the start and end a duality. What is the duality? The duality is a polarization between two equal and opposite poles created by the pulsation itself, from atomic pulsation to human pulsation. Even prior to atomic pulsation, the primordial pulsation or the pulsation of the quark glued on plasma state. Plasma itself has a pulsation. That is why still physicists, quantum physicists, have not been able to assert whether plasma state is a state of particles or it is just a state of energy. They're not sure because there is pulsation. And if there is a pulsation, there is an expansion and contraction. So expansion and contraction are the two equal and opposite polarization can be seen geometrically as a circle coming out of the center and merging into the center. So the pulsation is like this. It is making a polarization. And this polarization in mode of creation is not exactly equal. It's in a golden mean ratio. That means sometimes if the poles are A and Z, then sometimes from the middle to the Z is bigger than the middle to the A, or sometimes middle to the A is bigger than the middle to the Z. And they are continuously corresponding with a wobble, with a shake. And this shake on the 5 elemental composition of earth is creating seasons. And the frequency of seasons has created life. So in a golden mean ratio, the entire universe is working out the geometry of fractals of the game of multiplicity and differences. That design in the same diagrammic element is in our brain. So from the central brain, corpus callosum, to the 2 parietal lobes, there is a pulsation going on, which is also in golden mean ratio. A golden mean ratio is a balance which is wobbling or changing between 60-40 ratio. (41 to 59, 42 to 58, 43 to 57. Like this, it never becomes 50-50. It is at most 49-51. Very mathematically. And there are innumerable dividends or decimals in between. So this brain also is made in such a way that between the 2 parietal lobes, the pulsation is fluctuating in a golden mean ratio, creating a competition between our IQ and EQ, or between our emotion and intelligence, or in yogic language, between our experience and analysis. I always will go with the terminology of experience and analysis, because intelligent and emotion seems to be emotion is unintelligent. Most of the time, Bania thinks that. Though she is very emotional. Because Bania, being born in US, has always heard emotion is bad. Everything must be thinking. And with so much thoughts in head, emotions and thoughts and emotions eating up each other has gone into a catastrophe. Isn't it? So that is the misbalance. If you can think as much as you can not think at all, if you can make the equation, you will definitely get back to the balance. So as much work, that much rest is necessary. But if you think resting is taking a good sleep, then Mika will see dreams. And while seeing dreams, Mika can get angry even with Baba. Why Baba does not look after me seeing so many dreams? Isn't it, Mika? So even when we are sleeping, we are taking a rest. We are not actually taking a rest. We are endeavoring in dreams. So the underlying thought process is carried on. No rest. Even in the sleep, somebody may whisper in the ears, now it's time of your meeting, just get up and run to the office. Or as Ma called me 15 minutes back, I was sleeping. Baba, people are waiting. But I hope I didn't make you wait long. I was trying to go to the balance of getting more to no thought on no work. So these two parietal lobes, the emotional lobe, I will call the experiential lobe, is the right lobe, and the thinking lobe, or better to say the analytical lobe, is the left lobe. In Tantra, they are designated as the male lobe, the left lobe is the male lobe or Shiva, and a right lobe is the female lobe or Shakti. In Buddhist tantras, some will call it Buddha and Prajna. Vaishnavas will call it Radha Krishna. Buddha meant wisdom or Prajna in Sanskrit, Panya in Pali. Buddha meant Prajna is experiential wisdom derived from Samadhi. Buddha didn't mean wisdom as books, talks, thoughts, information. Buddha never thought that. Buddhists think that. That is why Buddha didn't write books. Whether he read books, we do not know. But that he didn't write any book, we know. But thousands and thousands books and texts have been written by Buddhist masters. Many a times, a Buddhist is far away from the pure Buddha mind. When your experience is not contradicting your analogy, or your analogy is not contradicting experience, because analogy and experience has been found as interdependent on each other, that is the time a human being has come to a balance. And this balance technically can be practiced as the final course of yoga called Samadhi, or practice of the equipoise. How is it? It is like a conscious deep sleep. In this conscious deep sleep, those who are practicing it will know, those who are not, to make them understand, it is conscious because you have consciously entered it as you never consciously entered a deep sleep. But it is exactly like deep sleep, where there is no perception, thus there is no sense of self or no sense of time, no sense of self, because there is nothing in difference, no separation between different forms and names, and thus there is no conception or perception of time, because time, according to human psychology, is the primordial perception of a human mind. The first thing a human mind learns to perceive is repetition of a sensation. So repetition of a sensation creates memory, and memory creates thought process. This is the house of perception. Without experience of sensation, there could not have been any perception at all. So when the perception is bigger than experience, most of the times with human beings, it's an imbalance. So the day you will feel that you don't need to think, it is not thoughts coming to you anymore. You are free from thought. You can bring thoughts if you like, but thoughts will not intrude your mind. That is the day you have got balanced as a human being. Is that clear, Ramiel?
Baba, what about the thoughts of others? Not just the inner thoughts, but the thoughts of others directed towards us.
Either thoughts of inner or thoughts of outer, you are thinking inside you. You are not thinking outside you. Your thoughts are not like objects kept away in a box or in a vault or in an almirah or in a safe. It's in you, in your brain, in your mind.
So no longer your awareness wavers from the thoughts, inner or outer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That is why the higher schools of meditations, when you go to higher stages, you don't even close your eyes or go to a silent place to do meditation. With all the senses open, you are in a crowd and you can be absolutely thoughtless. In my 20s, my guru, I was in Calcutta. My guru one day said that if you cannot meditate anywhere and everywhere, then you are not a meditator. You are fancying meditation. Yes, master, what I have to do then? And he asked me if you have any idea of Calcutta public bus. Like people are packed into it, and from the doors, people hang like bunches of grapes Anybody can drop out and have an accident. So in such a bus, in a distance of 30 kilometers, running from airport to extreme South Calcutta, I was ordered to get up into a bus, and from one end to other end twice I travel. Don't get down from the bus. And in this time period, I complete 10,000 mantra chantings and keeping my mind tranquil. Whether I get a seat to sit or not, I have to carry on with this practice. So for a month, I did this. To and fro rides from the two extremes twice would take me 4 hours time. Those who have gone to Calcutta and knows Calcutta, they will know from Goria to airport in 45 bars. Some days I'm getting a seat, some days it is packed. People are pushing people. You cannot see light even. You can only see people all around you. After that, I was asked to go to Howrah station early in the morning and sit for a 10 hours meditation in the Howrah station, putting my asana in a place, sitting there and meditating. Those who have gone to Howrah station from 9 to 5, they know what it is. So that also I did 1 year. Another meditation he gave me. Try to look at the blank cinema screen when you are seeing a cinema. For 1 month, I booked in a hall all the shows, noon, matinee, and evening. From 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock, I am in the cinema hall, seeing the same cinema and trying to see the screen rather than the cinema. And just 2-3 days before the month completes, I started seeing the screen. I'm not seeing the cinema anymore. These are practices against the conditionings that are embedded in us. More the conditioning increases, more we feel disturbed. Less the conditioning, more the sense of independence, freedom, and vastness of space. So how much you have to go against your conditioning of mind to say no to thoughts. And if you sit in a meditation, Ramil, and you go on saying, I will not listen to you thoughts, then you will go on talking with the thoughts. One of our poet friends, very good poet, wrote a poem yesterday on Facebook. Today, if I don't write anything, just keep silence. What if? And with this what if, next there are some 12 lines. He believes he is not thinking or he is in silence. Today he is not writing anything because he's writing about not writing anything. This is identity. Still, what he wrote is brilliant. But still, it is not silence that he claimed. So the only way to get rid of conditioning is to practice Samadhi. To practice Samadhi, to prepare for Samadhi, you need to practice meditation. Many a times meditation will not happen to you. Because in the time of meditation, many thoughts will come. There's a joke about it. Once a person in, previously Bangladesh was part of India, and still now it is called as East Bengal by Indians, whereas the state of Bengal in India is called West Bengal. So in West Bengal, a guru was giving a satsang, and he was about to tell a story in the satsang when he said, "Is there any people from Bangladesh or East Bengal there?" So some people said, "Why?" Those who said why, the sadhu asked them to stand, and everybody found out those who asked why, they are all from Bangladesh. They were checked out of the room. Then the sadhu said, "Is there any more people from Bangladesh here? Bengalis from East Bengal or Bangladesh?" Everybody said no. Said, "If there is any one of them, I will not talk. I will not tell you the story. The story will be difficult to listen to." So everybody said, "No, nobody is from Bangladesh." They said, "Okay." So once upon a time, there lived a crocodile in a lake. And suddenly a person took out the hand. "Yes, what do you want to ask? Is the crocodile a female crocodile or a male crocodile?" The sadhu said, "I told you, if there is one Bangladeshi, I will not speak the story." Because Bangladeshis are so much into books that time, especially Sanskritized culture, they cannot not think. They cannot enjoy anything. They will ask 20 questions about one single thing. I am also a Bangladeshi. So because a satsang, if people have to listen, they have to keep their mind away from their preoccupied notions or thoughts. Otherwise, what they're getting, they will not get it. My guru used to say, he was also from Bangladesh. But as in the can of mustard oil, without washing it and cleaning it, you cannot put ghee into it. Then the ghee or the butter oil will smell like mustard oil. Similarly, your mind needs to be cleansed of all your preoccupations to listen to what I am telling you. So this preoccupied mind is the cause of the imbalance. Because even thoughts can be balanced if they're open thoughts rather than fixed thoughts. And if they're principles, they can be fixed. Principles are where the thoughts have failed to intrude more. That is a human being's limitation of perception, where a person puts the flag of principles. I've thought till the end, and there I have come down to this is my principle. Like that. So generally, in all religions, they try to teach you some principles that you are within a boundary of thoughts. You all know that all religions of the world, even the shamanic religions, give you some principles, isn't it? Do you find a religion which does not have principles? So what are the principles that put the boundary of the limitation of thoughts? Because if thoughts can be let go free and unlimited, freedom of thought, then one day people will start claiming why the sky and earth is not the same thing. Like human rights for a man, woman, gay, transgender can be the same. But the modes of needs, requisitions, choice will never be the same. The experience of growing a child inside one's own self and delivering a child will not happen to a man. It will happen to a woman only. This cannot be changed. So the thought of equalizing gender on terms of equal thoughts is an imbalance of human mind that's seen as very progressive and is carrying on. I'm not saying man is greater than woman or woman is greater than man. I'm saying that man and woman are exactly same is not accepted. Man, woman, different kinds of gender claimants nowadays. If they're all equal, then why their psychology is not the same? So there is difference and indifference in an equality in our brain. If we equate that, we will also find the human balance. There is a story with Prophet King Rama in India and his teacher Vasishthadev, who was telling Rama that everything is Brahman or pure consciousness. And Rama is listening to this morning till night. At the same time, Rama is listening to what are the responsibilities of a king, what are the responsibilities of a man, what are the responsibilities of a woman, what are the responsibilities of a sage, a sadhu, a guru. He's confused between these differences and indifferences. One day he asked Vasishthadev that, Acharya, my master, are you sure that everything is indifferent in reality? And Vasishtha said, of course. So Rama he was a king and he had elephant. He knew to instruct animals. So he chased an elephant behind his own guru. Now Vasishtha is running away in fear and the elephant is chasing sage Vasishtha, one of the greatest Vedantists of the Vedic era. Vasishtha is shouting, Rama, control your elephant. So Rama shouted, why, Lord? The road is Brahman. You are Brahman. The elephant is Brahman. I am also Brahman. So where is the disharmony that you are running away from the elephant? The elephant is chasing you on the road and you are asking me to stop the elephant. If everything is Brahman, where are you feeling the trouble? Vasishtha shouted, that you are thinking this is happening is also a dream. Then Rama said, let the dream carry on. So ultimately, Vasishtha could not carry on the real dream. He could not longer stand the running away from the elephant, and Rama stopped the elephant. Vasishtha understood that it's very difficult to teach Rama Vedanta because Rama is seeing the outer and inner in the same standard of logic and reality. To Rama, the outer reality and the inner reality are not two realities. Rama has not said anything. The text is called Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana. It is assigned to Rama, but it is saying Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana, that yoga that came from Vasishtha and was realized by Rama, because how it was realized by Rama made a big difference from how Vasishtha spoke it. So Rama's challenges are greater wisdom in the text than even Vasishtha's dictation of the precepts. So the first and foremost work of Tantra Yoga is to balance the pulsation. Balancing the pulsation starts from observing your own movements. The extension of the pulsation is your locomotion, is your movement. So from the movement of the limbs to the movement of the organs, movement of the lungs and the heart, then you go to the movement of the blood. There you find the blood pulsation. This witnessing or watching and going deeper, finding discoveries, deeper layers of reality of yourself is meditation. Meditation is not closing eyes and imagining something. That can also be a meditation. But meditation is basically watching your own being. So from blood pulsation carried on, watching the blood pulsation, you will find the nerve pulsation, the neuropulsation, how the nerve impulses are flowing all through your body. So watching the blood pulsations and watching the limbs and the organs, reaching the blood pulsation is the work of asana and pranayama of Hatha Yoga. The moment you have started watching your nervous pulsation or neurological pulsation or pulsation of the nervous system, you are into Kriya Yoga. The result of the nerve watching of the nerve pulsation will also take you deep into watching the pulsations and modes of pulsations in your spine. From the tailbone to the topmost of the vertebral column. From there, the spine pulsation or the nerve, the central nerve pulsation, nervous system pulsation is turning to pure brain pulsation. When you have entered the brain pulsation and working out with the brain pulsation, it is called a Raja Yoga. Raja means king, it's king's yoga. Why? Controlling the brain pulsation, you are controlling over your ego identity. So you are a king for yourself. You are ruling over your conditioning. You are ruling over your ego identities. You are learning them. When you are able to control the entire brain pulsation, you have entered the arena of Samrajya Yoga or the Emperor's Yoga. In Bhagavad Gita, it is called a Rajadhiraj Yoga, the yoga of the King of Kings. That means your central brain pulsation is controlling the 64 major points of brain pulsation in your brain, like an emperor controlling many kings who are ruling over the big land of our body mind. In the Emperor's Yoga, there are 3 standards of Emperor's Yoga, called the Anu Yoga, or the master of your own world, that is, of master of your body mind. Then a master of the universe, or the master of the universal mind, that is called a Mahayoga. So macrocosmic emperor's mind, microcosmic emperor's mind is the perfect individual perfection. The macrocosmic human mind is the universal mind control. And then there is Ati Yoga or extreme yoga, which is dissolving into the void, which is also called dying or death meditation, where there is no self, where the self dissolves in no thought. Even the thought of the self is not present there. That is the Buddha mind. The yogis call it Nirvikalpa Samadhi. When you come back from there, you are renewed, you are reborn. So as many times as you go into Samadhi and come back, that many rebirthing gives you deeper and deeper and deeper reliance on the voidness of everything. What is voidness? Your being is basically nothing. Because everything you think importance is changing every moment. What remains is the pure consciousness without any attribute. Because it's no attributes are there, it's called the void. It's the deep sleep where you don't know anything. Even knowledge is not present. Where knowledge is not present, how do you know yourself? Do you know that you are having a deep sleep when you are having a deep sleep? No. If you know that you are having a deep sleep, then definitely you are not having a deep sleep. Isn't it? That is why in experience deep sleep, there is experience of nothing. That is termed by human mind as the void. And when that sense prevails, even in your everyday life, then it is called voidness. It's the nature of the void holding different forms and names. When forms and names are recognized verily as the void, but the forms and names are not disturbing the void, essential void, and the essential void is not disturbing the name and form. They're the same thing. That is the day you are in voidness. That is the day you are in easiness. That day you don't need a meditation. That day everything is balanced. And when that day has come, that is called nirvana or non-identity. When I am not someone, I am just no one. I'm just a flow of consciousness, watched by itself. when the self is not putting any emphasis or any importance to anything particularly for itself, then the self ceases to have at all a standpoint. And without a standpoint, the judgment cannot assert an identity. If anybody of you have gone through Ramana Maharshi's teachings, many of you have heard about Muji, and some of you have, I hope you have seen Muji too. He is grand disciple of Ramana Maharshi. Bhagavan Ramana said in one of his ultimate realizations, words of realization, that self can neither be asserted nor be refuted. You can't assert a self, because if you have to assert a self, you have find something more than the self. That is asserting the self. By the definition of the self, it is everything, so you can assert it. And in Samadhi, you don't get a secondary self to assert a self. And to refute a self also, you have to first acknowledge that you are no one. Because if you are someone, then you are the self who is asserting that there is no self. To refute a self, a secondary self is needed. To assert a self, a secondary self is needed. Thus, from the view of the Vedantic doctrine of the constant nature of self, you cannot assert there is a self. You can neither deny there is a self. Going into a deep sleep is so easy. If you can't take a morphine injection, you will see how easy it is and how long we are talking about the deep sleep. Thus, what is most easy is in our mind most difficult. If you read Pragyaparamita, then you will see Buddha is saying wisdom is the nature of voidness. So one of the disciples of Buddha is asking, is wisdom a thought? Buddha said, wisdom is no thought, but it is also not to be brought into thinking. It is also not that if you bring it into thinking, you will be able to think it. Then the disciple asks, "Oh Lord, so wisdom is the thought of no thought. What type of thought it is?" We are so possessed by thoughts that we can never even imagine no thought. So we If we try to imagine no thought, we will make a very definite thought about no thought. Because if there is no thought, there is no importance of anything. If there is no importance of anything, what is the difference of me? What is my importance? And my importance is the maximum importance. So there cannot be a thinking which is no thinking. So how long we are speaking about this rubbish? It's already 1 hour past that we have talked about rubbish. So are our brains yet not tired? Is there any more questions from anybody else?
Okay. Baba, when you talk about no thoughts, how does this correlate with compassion? Does compassion have no thoughts? It's just experience?
This is a very tricky question. Okay. In no thought, because there is no thought, there's no question about compassion. So there is no answer about compassion also. Now, are we in thought or no thought? Mario?
Yes, I guess we are in no thought.
We are in no thought now? You are talking from no thought?
No, I'm talking from thought.
So how will you hold no thought by thought?
That's why I'm asking.
So that means the question itself is self-contradictory because the answer is in its own root. If you know what is no thought, then you don't need a thought to know it. And if you know a thought, that no thought is a thought, then you may have never-ending viewpoints about that thought. And those will be all thoughts and not no thought. That is why I said, how long we are speaking about this rubbish. Yes, Priyanka.
Baba, my question, again, speaking of thoughts, should we think about Samadhi and attaining a Samadhi, or should we just let it be and go with the flow? Like, should we target all a Samadhi, and how do we begin if we want a Samadhi? Or should that not be our target? Should we just enjoy and go with the flow? Should we have a target or just go with the flow?
When you feel, pardon my language, you feel shitty, do you go with the flow or hunt for a toilet?
I usually hunt for a toilet. But,
Everybody
depends. Yes.
Nobody goes with the flow. Then one has to go with the flow of the shit in the pants.
Right.
So go What is going with the flow, I don't know. This is a
Right.
hippie terminology.
Right.
Maybe Joy Harsh can answer it well. I would be able to. What is
But
going
what about
with
the Taoist way of
Wait,
living?
wait. Don't bring Tao here.
Okay.
Don't bring anything here. We are talking person to person. Don't bring others into it. Then the intimacy will get lost. Tao is also your information. What I am speaking to you is also your information. What thought you are cooking in between is yours.
Right.
So when you are hungry, you go in the flow or go into a restaurant or in your kitchen to prepare the food.
We prepare the food.
So first of all, listening about Samadhi will mature in you when you will have an yearning to experience Samadhi. And if you have an yearning for the Samadhi, it will be like searching for a toilet when you are shitty, or going into a restaurant, or going into your own kitchen when you are hungry.
Right.
Isn't it? So you have
Right.
your answer.
So how do we begin moving towards it, Baba?
Still, you have not got the hankering. That is why you are asking how to move into it. But if I technically answer your question, it will be you have to do yoga that is connecting you to dhyan or meditation, a workout to a contemplation, or contemplation into the saturation of contemplation in absolute relaxation. That absolute relaxed state is Samadhi.
Right.
Grow the hunger first.
Right.
There are multiple choices. When we don't have the real hankering for a particular thing, then we go on trying many things.
Right.
When we know what we want, then we don't try many things. We search for
Right.
one single thing. Let
Right.
that happen first in the psychology.
So it is important to have a focus on a target.
Yes, but if you make it a target by your intellectual proposition that you should have Samadhi, then you will
Right.
not have it. It's not an object to be derived by ambition. It's rather dissolving your ambitious self
Right.
into contemplation that dissolves into nothingness.
বুঝতে পারলাম না শেষের দিকটা।
Okay.
Can you simplify that a little bit?
Yoga is an activation. You come to an activation. Like when you are hungry, you are activating yourself to find things to cook in your kitchen, or running to a restaurant, finding a menu and ordering the food. When you have started eating it, it is meditation. When you have finished the eating and you have no hankering for the food anymore, you are relaxed, that is your hankering dissolved into satisfaction. Samadhi is a state of satisfaction without any subjective or objective goal.
Right.
No expectation, nothing to end up with or in. It's a process that is actually going in the flow. After meditation to Samadhi, there is no trial, that is going into the flow. Then it is not hippie, then it is happy.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you.
But
Thank you.
I have met many hippies, those who are very happy.
Right. Thank you, Baba.
Okay. Is it clear to you? If it is not that clear, then take some purgatives.
Right.
And tomorrow experience the relaxation in toilet. If you concentrate there, you will understand what is meditation.
Right. Right.
I'm not making fun of you. That is how I do it.
I know, Baba. You're talking about being in a state of relaxation, and
Yes.
satisfaction. So that could
From
happen
a very real
throughout the
day.
day.
From
Right.
the example is a real day-to-day thing.
Right. I understand. Starting from taking a dump to having a good meal and taking a good nap or enjoying a good evening, you're talking about the satisfaction.
Every action is a yoga until and unless we are not aware of it. When we are aware, every action is yoga.
Right.
When we are aware, watchfulness of every thought is meditation.
Right.
When we are aware, sleeping itself is Samadhi.
Right. Thank you.
I think Uwe had one question, Baba, before.
Yes, Uwe, a question. Is it written down there?
No, he'll speak, I think.
Okay, Uwe, say.
I have a question about when, like, there is a state where there is the thought of, whoops, there was no thought. Like,
Yeah.
but after that, is there a jump which could happen one day? Because I always get to the state where there is no thought. Oops, there was no thought. But I never get beyond that where there is just space.
Because the moment you are thoughtful about no thought, thoughts have started.
But is there a jump somewhere where it gets like more vast or more?
Yes. Yes. Rather, oops, there is no thoughts. If you go on watching that state, what happens actually, in saturation of thought is parallel to our saturation of breathing. So somewhere our thought has become so poignant that you have entered the saturation of the thought and you have become blank. It happens to everybody. And not anybody has not experienced it. Time to time, we become blank. Isn't it? Everybody? We become blank. Yes. We have to extend that time. That is inevitable Samadhi. Because Samadhi is the ultimate rest. When our mind is saturated, it will switch off into Samadhi by itself. And exactly a sahaja, enlightened being, stays in that easiness. Oops, there is the thought. And remains there until and unless anybody provokes into thought. That is why, in so long you know me, I can go on explaining non-stop, but I need somebody to ask me a question, because out of myself, a thought does not arise. Generally. Sometimes I decide today I will speak about it. Or I want to speak and share these feelings of mine with you. But most of the time, that no thought is prevailing in a state that, oops, there is a thought, so I can ponder upon thought.
So that means the moment where there is no thought, which lasts like, I don't know, a second or half a second, or I have no idea, but short, would get longer.
Yes.
Or it's the no thought, no thought, which like gets like triggered, or
No, it will be like a damburu, Shiva playing the damburu. Kit kat, kit kat, kit kat, carrying on. You watch that.
yeah.
Relax. Not to have a chase, now you have to do that. The routine is calling you. The office is calling you, forget it. That is why we need retreat. And let the thought and no thought carry on. You are just a witness.
It gets very intense.
Yes. How it gets intense or easy in me, suppose, when I eat very fast. That is a habit from childhood days. I was being chased, eat quickly. Indians always say, eat quickly, which is not good for health. But I was always in that chase by my family, because I used to eat slow, very slow in childhood days. So until and unless somebody alerts me, Baba, you are eating quickly, unmindfully I go on eating very quickly. It's a conditioning. So to slow down my eating process, because it's not good for my digestion, I open up the TV when I'm sitting for food. And I'm seeing whatever is going on, soap operas in the TV. And time to time I ask Ma what they're saying, or what happened just now. Ma always tells me whatever she has collected. So one day somebody asked me, Baba, you are looking at the TV, are you not seeing it? Why you are asking Ma? I said, I put on the TV to eat slow. I am basically not seeing anything. And my mind is so blank that even in a very interesting part of what cinema is going on or soap opera is going on, I have no clue what is going on. So suddenly, oops, there is a thought. Ma, what's going on? I will ask Ma. It can be prolonged. But it was in you, Helen, when I first met you, you used to be in this blank state for a long, long time. I've observed that. And Ube is talking with me, suddenly looked at you, Helen, and then looked at you and looked at sometime at me and said, like this. Means she has gone into no thought. She's blank. So when our breath saturates, the technique of yoga is saturation of breath, and then it will take you to no thought. The basic meditation for it is anapana, or observing your inflow and outflow of breath without putting any exercise in it. After some time, if you are properly watching the breath, the inflow and outflow, the exhale and inhale will equate by itself. Natural balance, it will go. It's always believe the natural balance is always there. You are basically not doing anything. You are undoing. Total meditation is undoing. So when you are watching this inflow and outflow, and the outflow and inflow gets balanced, you are switched off to the blankness. In very
Guru.
simply, Jai Guru, very simply we can say that whenever the saturation of mind has happened with the saturation of breath, there is no thought. That no thought blank mind in Buddhism is called a rikpa in Tibetan. In Sanskrit, we call that blank mind as chitta matrata, or the onlyness of mind, which is also called in Sanskrit kaivalya. Keval means only, kaivalya means the quality of only or onlyness. There is no dual thought even about me and my identity, but the sense of existence remains. Death, what do you speak about? Chitta matrata, the mind as it is without any thought.
I don't know what to say about it.
But you are learning and teaching it, aren't you? See the trouble with the teachers. They learn and they teach. And if you ask them, they said, I don't know anything about it.
In front of you, I don't know.
See, I gave you a chance to say, Baba, how can I know of something which is no thought? I gave the ball in your court, and you could not kick it in my goal. How will you know? It's a matter of no thought. How will you know?
So is there a mind, what is only there, or it's even no mind? There is a contradiction. If there is a
Beautiful.
voidness, and sometimes they say there is a mind. If there is a voidness, how there can be a mind?
What is your definition of mind?
Mind is something what perceives or understands.
So mind is perception. How do you perceive deep sleep?
No, there is not possible to perceive it.
So you know that it is not possible to perceive it. So this is also knowledge. This is also knowledge. From where did you get this knowledge?
I don't have an experience. I can't say anything.
You never had an experience of a deep sleep?
Maybe I've had, but I don't know, is it the deep sleep or what it is? I don't remember.
How will you remember? There's nothing to remember there.
Yes.
So we only analyze it and compare with our awakened state or dream state, and then we know the deep sleep. So knowledge comes from a reaction. See that? That is the thought of no thought. When mind ponders about it, experience I had, and I cannot define it by any means. So perception doesn't work about it. So that in Pragyaparamita has been called as perceptionless perception. Any questions from anybody now? Those who have not questioned before, do you like to question?
Hello, I'm Shondipan.
Yes.
Yeah, I just have a small question regarding this. So can I just conclude one thing, that whatever we perceive from our senses actually is a barrier to reach the non-perspective state?
I cannot see you. Can I see your face for a moment? I can see you now. Because your expression is more important to you than your question. Because your expression in your face is holding the impression behind your question. This is what an experiential teacher will like to do, is to face the student to teach the student. That is why so long I said, Clive knows that I am not sure that I will be able to teach in virtual or in internet, because I won't be able to see the impression of one who is listening or asking me a question, whatever. Of course, knowledge is a barrier to consciousness. Shiva Sutra, first slok is Chaitanya Atma. Consciousness becomes the self. I don't know everybody knows Sanskrit here, but because Sandipan knows, I have to give him a grammatical understanding. So it is a compound word, Chaitanyatma. It is a Sandhi and Samasa. Now, because it is a Samasa, between Chaitanya and Atma, between consciousness and self, there is a gap. What are the prepositions and conjunctions you put on that will make that sense. Now, the 7 case endings of Sanskrit will come there. So if it is first case ending, then Chaitanya is becoming Atma. Chaitanya is Atma. If second case ending, it will be Chaitanya or consciousness to self. Third case ending will be self by Chaitanya, self by consciousness. Fourth case ending will be self surrendered to consciousness according to the laws of the grammar. Fifth case ending will be self from consciousness. Fifth case ending. Sixth case ending will be self belongs to consciousness. Seventh case ending will be self is residing in consciousness. So consciousness is subject and self is predicate. So self is derived from consciousness. So self is the individual's standpoint of view of consciousness. Thus, it is also a barrier to consciousness. The second sentence is Jnanam bandha. Knowledge is bondage. Here it is with a particular vibhakti. Chaitanya Atma Jnanam bandha. So the moment there is knowledge, there is a definition. Buddha called mind not perception. His terminology is Sangha or Sanjna, which means definition, Sangha. So whatever we feel, we want to define it. And that definition is perception. See how Buddha is giving more importance to psychology than philosophy, that his wisdom does not get doctrinated as philosophy.
It is more practical.
Is as it is. Of course, practical. Without practice, he didn't get it.
Sure.
So, knowledge is always bondage to pure consciousness. That is why Helen, the moment, oops, there is a no thought, and that thought is bringing a host of thoughts. Otherwise, you can relax in no thought. If you want knowledge, you are caught into the trap of knowledge. And if you can just be said, okay, knowledge, you have come. Hello, bye. Let me be alone now.
So,
I
so
don't
the
feel
question
like
is,
talking to you. Say?
so the question is, if so, every feelings, every perceptions that we get, so they are basically a kind of knowledge that we are getting.
Feeling is an experiential knowledge.
Huh.
Feelings will lead to experience, and experience will collect a memory, which is knowledge. And
So they
perceptual
also,
knowledge is the memory of the experience from the feelings is being analyzed.
repeat once.
When you
Perception.
pick up a thought of an experience and try to see from viewpoints, then there comes innumerable thoughts, and then the experience gets
Okay.
lost. Any other question from anybody?
Baba,
Yes.
when you said that we get blank many a times, and that's also a state, yeah, where we experience that blankness. So when we get blank with a lot of sound, lot of things that happens around in day-to-day life, it happens to many times to us that so many things happen, and sometimes we feel we are blank and watching everything. Is it that blankness that you say that we experience just for a second, which in meditation and samadhi we can elongate it, or it's a blankness where you are kind of dumb, you don't know what to do, you're confused? What is that state?
Who is talking this? Krishna?
Yes, Baba.
I'm not seeing your face, boy.
Yes, Baba.
Let me see. Okay, you are right. But again, you are confused when you cramped over the perception. First is a thought that is dissolved and you have a blankness. Then is a thought, what do I do with the blankness? So between these two thoughts, blankness is a dropout. And when you are thinking what to do, but your mind is so tired that it doesn't want to think. True. That is when you are fortunate not to think. That is a state of meditation already started from oops, there was no thought.
Now, but when this oops happens, you are very scared at times.
Yes, it happens to everybody all the time. That is again and again I am saying, it's not new to you. That is why I am saying, don't believe what I am saying by an information analysis and imagination. Pick it up from your own life. It will match. You will know yourself. And if you know yourself what I am saying, you will know how to follow or what to follow or at all to follow or not. At least I can reach you my understanding. So the moment you thought, there is no thought, and then thought starts, is the blankness filled up with thoughts again. If when there is a time when there is no thought, and if there's a provocation of thought also, I'm feeling, oh no, lazy in mind, I don't want to think, then you are really powerful. You should allow that no thought space to carry on. That is the developed state of meditation state, from where you can enter absolute no thought. Consciously, not unconsciously. Because unconsciously, saturation of a thought takes us to no thought. We are not acquainted with it well. So there is a jump, there is a jerk, there is alarm, there is a fear. Many of you, those who were practicing meditation with me, the moment you will go to losing yourself, you people have got afraid. It's not uncommon. That is why when Samadhi has been illustrated as Kali or Mahakala or Ugratara, they are so fearful, because that is the image of your mind afraid of losing perception, losing your identity. The wrathfulness is the fear in you, the fear of death, because it's the death of the self for that time being. But if you are sure that I will die for some time, then you will love to die every day. And one who loves to die every day becomes the holy zombie, like the internet is virtual. Previously, our virtues were inside us. Now it is in the internet.
This vice of virtue, Baba.
In any view you look into it. Do you think now we are in a vice?
No, we are in device.
Exactly. Then that time it is not non-virtuous. It is at least a device through which you are trying to reach some virtues. I will like to discuss another thing with you. That is, we have taken it an hour from 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock in our Indian time. But which is not very easy for people for whom it is like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. Now I have got a broadband in the mountains which goes very well. So I can give time in the daytime, Indian daytime, whatever it corresponds with your time. So if you people just say that this time is good for you or another time will be good for you, according to the area of people, like I think Americans and Europeans, even me, we can share a common time. But those who are in Australia may not enjoy a common time. There can be many Indians for whom it is really a late night. Okay? So you people, please drop your opinions in my timeline where this every Wednesday satsang has been put by Chinmoy Nath and Chinmoy Ma. There you can say what time, suggest some time, because it will take us to organize this time factor and make a time which is easy for everybody. Okay? I think Clive is already very tired. I can see that. So anybody of you can put suggestions on my timeline where this Satsanga has been announced. From there, we will find out a probable time for everybody or more than one probable time. So I can, another day of the week, which is convenient for others, I will hold this discussion also. And anybody can come to any discussion. My Bengali disciples and students, because I am born in Bengal and speak in Bengali, they all want me to speak in Bengali. I can only speak good in Bengali and okay in English. My Hindi is very genderless. You can call it progressive Hindi, but already those who are Hindi speaking, they're laughing. But I can still speak Hindi, some, but India has 22 states of 22 different languages. I cannot speak. I have my limitations. I'm not at all unlimited. I'm not a God man. I'm absolutely an average common man. Okay, then. Goodbye, everybody. We
Okay.
enjoyed a lot. Jai Guru, Jai Guru,
Okay.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Vivek, I can see you too.
Jai
I can see you.
Jai Guru, Jai Guru, everyone.
Jai Guru. Bye-bye. Jai
Jai
Guru.
Guru.
Good night,
Jai
good night.
Guru. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.